Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. If you find that this resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and let us know how it resonates with your circumstance. So, I wanted to talk to you all about the journey. You know, it's a lifelong journey. From the very beginning, when we first come out of our mother's wombs, the journey begins. But it's not always a conscious journey. You know, for a long time, you start off just as a walking zombie, pretty much just asleep. Not everyone gets the blessing of coming into this world with two parents who are awakened and they're able to prepare their offspring for all of the illusions and the tales and the conditioning of society. And so most of the chosen seed today had to go through a large part of the journey in an asleep state. And so because you were not fully awakened to the truth, you likely ran into a whole lot of situations that had you been more aware, you would have been able to avoid altogether. But consider that even that part of the journey was a very necessary part of the journey. It would allow you to go through certain lessons to prepare you for the future so that you wouldn't be easily tempted to walk through that energy again or to attract those types of people again or to tolerate certain things again. It gave you a lot of strength. It really grew you, you know? Then you get to that place where you come out of the sleep state and you start to accept that yes, it's a stark difference in the awakened world versus the asleep world. You know, it's like you're living in two different realities. You step out into the world and most people are sleeple. They're sheeple, just walking, you know, passively existing without really having any true knowledge of themselves or why they're here. And then you come back to your safe haven, and that's where, you know, it can be certain parts of the journey can get to a space where it's like, wow, where is the unity? Where's the tribe? Where is the divine partner? Where is that energy that can, you know, help you to navigate in this thing called life? And the fact of the matter is, it starts from within you. You know, you have to be your first love. You have to be your first support. You have to be your first practitioner, your first student, your first teacher. You have to be all of that to yourself before you can attract those people who will match that energy. And so this journey can be, it's like the ebbs and flows, you know. You're not always going to be up. You will not always be up. As a matter of fact, there's going to be times during your journey where you have to like push yourself to maintain that high vibrational energy. And a lot of times when you go through the spiritual awakening and you begin to recognize that love is the high vibrational frequency that you want to maintain, and of course, integrity and honesty and compassion and empathy and all of these beautiful things, it's like there's a lot of pressure to maintain a specific image when you are awakened, okay? Because you become so conscious of your emotions and you're so conscious of your thoughts and how you react and how you move and everything, to the point where it's like um, you would never give yourself permission to slip for too long. When you're in your sleep state, it's easy to stay in a space of depression and fear and lack mentality and self-sabotage and things like that, because that's like the norm for someone who's in an asleep state and has no true self-awareness. It becomes the norm. And so it's so normal that you barely even notice that it's low vibrational energy. You barely even notice that it has you off balance because it becomes your baseline energy. And so when you awaken and you start to realize that the only way that you can really have a life of peace and happiness and attract the partnerships and the friendships and the creative, opportunities and things of that nature, the only way that you can do that and maintain it is to be on a certain frequency emotionally and mentally. Then it's a lot of pressure to stay there. And it shouldn't be, you know, it shouldn't be hard to maintain happiness. But when you live in a world where you have to coexist with a lot of different energies of people who are dissatisfied and internally wounded, you pick up on that energy that is being projected out into the universe so much more easily when you're awakened. Even if you're in hermit mode, you can still feel the ebb and flow of that, group conscious energy. If you stay in an apartment complex, if most of those people in that apartment complex are in a low vibrational state, that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred, transmuted, transferred. And so it's like you have to work harder to maintain that space of equilibrium. But you also have to be clear about the fact that you are a spirit having a human experience. And so while you are constantly doing the spiritual work to maintain your internal peace and that internal happiness, because you know how important it is, that human nature can, you will feel certain emotions, you will feel certain energies, and it's not always going to be yours, though. That's where it's so important to decipher between, is this your energy, or is this, the energy of the group consciousness? Is this the energy of someone else who's projecting something towards me? Or, you have to know how to discern it. And even if you can't necessarily pinpoint the source of that emotion, you still want to be intentional about clearing it. When you really evaluate emotions that makes you feel low vibrational, that energy is easy. It's very easy to sit in that and to stay in that, because it gives you permission to not have zeal or passion in any other area of your life. And so depression gives you permission to not pursue your goals. It gives you permission to not take care of yourself. It gives you permission to not open yourself up to loving connections or to focus on your creative ideas. It gives you permission to pretty much be lazy. Depression does that. But when you awaken to self-love and you are consciously aware and committed to being the best version of yourself, it takes work to stay there. And you have to constantly stay on top of yourself. This is why that connection to the Most High is so important, because the love that is received when you have a connection to Mother and Father, it really does help to refuel you, re-energize you, and to remind you that this thing is so much bigger than yourself. And it keeps you on top of, staying in your divinity in spite of all of the energy and the chaos that could be happening around you. That connection to the Most High Mother and Father reminds you, like, You were placed here for a divine reason. You was molded and crafted and thought about, every detail of who you are physically, emotionally, spiritually, on a soul level was crafted in a very unique and special way. And so that will lift you back up, knowing that you have that divine love that is overflowing and always giving from your divine parents. But being here in the 3D, because the energy is so dense and because there's so many shifts and changes that's happening around us, it can become overwhelming sometimes emotionally, and it can get so thick to where it's palpable, that energy of just the chaotic energy of the masses. Like I said, the group consciousness. A lot of people right now are very afraid. They're very afraid of what's going to happen next. They don't know, they're trying to anticipate it, but consider fear is a very low vibrational energy. It's a very crippling energy. And so you, as a divine being, you have a lot of spiritual gifts where you're able to connect and tap in. You're going to pick up on these things as an empath. Just naturally you will. And so this is why making sure that you stay grounded, making sure that you, do all the necessary things to have that holistic health and care regime is very, very important. And when the energy feels like extra heightened, because we're not negating the fact, and I speak about this all the time, we're not negating the fact that there's a lot of spell work, rituals, all types of low vibrational things that the powers that were are doing towards the chosen specifically, because it's well understood that as we continue to rise, our collective consciousness as the chosen seed, as divine beings, will um, will shift the energy of the universe as a whole, our collective consciousness. When we have that divine connection to the Most High and we're all operating on that high vibrational frequency as the chosen seed, it's going to override any and everything that is low vibrational. And so that means that a change has to begin to happen in the 3D, because we exist both in the 3D. We are multidimensional beings. So it has to shift in the spiritual realm, because our spiritual energy is now lighter as a collective consciousness of the chosen. And then it has to shift in the physical realm, because as a human being in our avatars, even that is changing how we move, how we respond, the things that we engage in, how we treat ourselves, how we treat others. All of that is shifting in the 3D. So as above, so below. The frequencies have to match. And so the powers that were begin to do a lot of spell work and things like that against your mental and against your emotions, in hopes that they can drag you back down to that uncomfortable place that can be a little cozy, which is depression, you know. And so you want to be very clear about the times that we're in, and very clear about the role that you play in helping to balance things back out. Don't be hard on yourself, but be consistent with your routine of holistic care, because you really can't afford to slip up, especially in the times that we're in right now. This is, it's chaotic times. It's the time of change. And so we're talking about tearing down a particular so-called power structure, a so-called empire, in order to rebuild a new kingdom right here on earth, not somewhere else, but right here on earth. And so that turnover is a very chaotic energy in the spiritual realm and in the physical. you know A lot of spiritual warfare happens during times such as these. A lot of physical warfare, as you can already see, happens at times such as these. And so internal warfare can begin to take place. And so this is where you have to know the difference. Be easy on yourself. evaluate yourself every day and give yourself permission to laugh and to sing and to dance and to work out and to go to the lakefront, to go out amongst nature, to play with your children, to be creative, whatever it is you feel guided to do. Give yourself permission to do those things, and don't be hard on yourself. It's not going to always be smooth sailing where you're always just in this Zen energy. It's not. And don't let anyone else put pressure on you to make you think that because you're not always 100% up, because you're not always 100% happy go lucky and, the light of the room, that somehow you are failing at your attempts to rise into your divinity. You're not failing. You're just finding a state of balance in your physical avatar. It's easy to feel like you just don't belong, like you're in a whole world uh, that doesn't understand you, like you're surrounded by aliens, but, everybody else is looking at you like you're the alien, like you're the one that stands out, which you are, you know, you are that unique being. And so you want to embrace that. Embrace the fact that, you know, because you are a chosen seed and you have that divine connection to the Most High, you will likely always feel like home is elsewhere. Home is not necessarily here. You will likely always feel like it's very difficult to just get comfortable. There's always this search that you might be on. And that's because you've been placed here to do great things. You've been placed here to evolve higher beyond who the world told you was, and the illusions that was placed over you based on your ancestors, history, the past, traumas that your ancestors have gone through. You're so much more. And so many of you out there, that this is the case, and so you're on a lifelong journey of discovering who that person is. And so just know that the journey is not going to always be easy. It's an adventure, though. And depending on how you look at it, you'll be able to find the sweet spots in every part of the journey, even the tough parts. So we got to continue to encourage ourselves and give ourselves permission to be human, okay? It's not always easy for a chosen seed to just be human, because sometimes you're like, well, what the hell is that? How do you even do that? Especially when you awaken, you just start to feel almost disconnected from the human experience. But this is why it's so important to stay grounded. This is why it's so important to stay grounded. And so I'm here to encourage you all. Continue to do your works, continue to stay on your mission, and remember the times that we are in. It's not the easiest times to maintain that balanced energy in, but you can do it if you're intentional about staying committed to the process of rising into your divinity and being the best version of yourselves. So that's my message for you all. I love you. I hope that it resonates. Please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below if you want any of my services, personal readings, tarot lessons, to order any of my decks. Check the description box for my email, and I'll talk to you all next time.